Hello everyone, this is Carl, and today I want to talk about the primer which I have been using for the past 11 years, and it's this one right here, which is known as the Kapki 2K primer. Whenever I finish a build I always list down the paints which I have used, and the first one is always this one, Kapki 2K primer. And over the years many people have sent me questions asking me about this type of primer which I am using, what exactly is it. As you can see, Kapki is just the brand, and the 2K primer refers to the fact that you have to mix hardener. This is simply an automotive grade primer, the same as used in the automotive body repairs by sprayers. This is a 1 liter can, and the color is gray. I will show you the exact color that will turn out. And the mixing ratio for this type of paint, this was written to me by the local body shop when I bought it, is 5 parts undercoat primer and 1 part hardener. Now, speaking of hardener, this is the one which I am currently using. As you can see, it's not the same brand, however that doesn't matter, because what matters is the specifications, and this is 2K HS low VOC, and this is the same 2K HS low VOC. So that means that this will be 100% compatible with my primer, and also that I won't have any problems when airbrushing it to the two bodies or anything I airbrush. Throughout these 11 years I never replaced the primer. It's the same one which I have bought in 2010, still using it. However, every 3 to 4 years I tend to replace the hardener to be sure that it is still valid. In fact, on the back I always write the date. As you can see, it has just passed the 3-year mark, and so I should be thinking about buying a new one. There's not much left, so it's not a bad thing to go and purchase a new hardener. Now you might say, what exactly have kept you in using this type of primer throughout the years? Obviously, like other things, it has its advantages and disadvantages, and I shall begin talking about them right away. The first and biggest advantage is obviously cost. This one back in 2010 costed around 15 euros, if I remember correctly. 15 euros. I've been using it for 11 years. Do your maths. I don't think that's a bad ratio. You might say you have the cost of the hardener and the thinner, and that's true. However, the hardener and thinner, I also use them for the clear, so they are always there in my cabinet, ready for the 2K clear. So as long as they are there, I might as well use them also for the primer. The second advantage is also that it acts as a filler, and by filler I mean that if let me take a body, and if, for example, when you are sanding down the shyness of the body, a brand new body getting ready for primer, if you scratch the surface and you don't treat those surfaces before going for paint, this type of 2K primer will fill them up nicely, and the only thing that will remain once it is fully dry, just a little bit of sand, and you are good to go. Normally the spray cans like the Tamiya and Mr. Hobby are very thin, and usually they just don't fill up those type of scratches like the 2K primer does. Also, for example, you apply some putty and it is sanded down properly. However, if you have those tiny holes inside the putty, the 2K primer will take care of filling them up if you apply just a thicker coat over that putty. Just take care not to fill the smaller details like door handles, for example, because if you apply a thick layer of 2K primer, it will easily fill those out. However, once you get the hang of it, I think that you will find it perfect. Another advantage is that it dries hard. So once the primer has cured and you notice some defects or orange peel, you will be safe to sand it down without much worry that you will sand through. The best sandpaper I have found to smoothen down this type of primer is this one, which is a Tamiya 600 used piece of sandpaper. It needs to be used so that the surface is not harsh anymore, and it simply sands down the primer smoothly to your required, without worrying much that you will sand through. Obviously, if you press the sandpaper hard or don't take care, it will still sand through the 2K primer. I have sanded through many times. However, most of the times I am safe, and that's something I really like. The Tamiya or Mr. Hobby spray cans, they are very fragile and will not give you much opportunity to sand down any defects which might show once the primer is cured. Throughout these years I have used it on different brands, different types of plastics, not just model cars, and I never had any problems with it affecting or reacting to the plastic. So I think whatever application you throw at it, you will be more than safe to do so, because I had no problems at all at whatever material I have thrown at the 2K primer. Let's speak also of disadvantages it has. Its disadvantages, obviously, like other things. The first one is that it takes time to prepare. Obviously, you need to jar. First of all, you need to pour the primer and then the hardener, mix. At the thinner, you have to be sure of the correct mixing ratio for your airbrush. That all takes time compared to the Tamiya spray can, where you simply shake and you are good to go. This takes time. The second disadvantage is that I have noticed that it produces an amount of dust compared to other paints. Let me show you the filter. I haven't cleaned the filter yet. Okay, over there. This filter hasn't been cleaned. It's full of dust from the primer, as you can see. Immediately goes down on your finger, and not just the filter, which is doing its job. However, also I have noticed 2K primer produces a layer of dust over the bench and over my work area surrounding the spray booth. Other paints also produce this type of dust, however, not in the same quantity as the 2K primer. So that's something which you might also need to consider. Finally, another thing is that it is an automotive grade, so it's a little toxic thinner-wise. It's 2K, just like the clear, and so you will need an automotive grade mask so that you will be safe while working with it, not to inhale the toxic fumes that comes out of the airbrush when airbrushing this type of paint. All types of paints, thinner based especially, produce that smell. However, on the 2K primer it's more visible. So those are basically the advantages versus disadvantages of 2K primer. When I consider everything, I don't mind those disadvantages. As you can see, throughout these years, a lot of it has dried, and also it's not as liquid as it was back in the day when I bought it. However, that is not a problem for me, because I simply increase the ratio of thinner to compensate for the fact that it's not a liquid as it was back in the day. When I open it to mix, you will see how the condition that it has turned into these past 11 years, and also these particles over here which have dried around the edge of the can. Sometimes they tend to fall into your mixture once you are mixing, and that will be a problem because it will clog the airbrush. So to compensate for that, I use this filter right here, also an automotive filter, where I simply use two jars, a jar in the bottom, the filter, the jar in which I have mixed, and I simply pour from one jar to the other. And when doing that, I always find some little pieces of clogged paint resting in the filter. So it's a good idea, especially if it's an old bottle like mine, to use a filter so that it will not clog your airbrush. Now, for me, I have filmed the complete process of airbrushing and mixing the paint for the Toyota Corona JTCZ, so let's go ahead and see how it is mixed and then airbrushed. So that is all from me. I have shown you everything. I have explained what exactly is 2K primer. I have shown you how I mix it, airbrush it, and then sand it once it is dry. I have shown the whole process. Hope you find this video interesting. If that was the case, feel free to leave me a like. I will appreciate it very much. If something is still not clear enough or you want to leave me your feedback, I also appreciate your comments. Thank you very much. They keep pushing me to make more videos. Thank you. Feel free to leave a comment, ask any question you want. I will be more than happy to let you know more information about this type of primer which I am using, and also please subscribe. So if you have already subscribed, I thank you very much for this. Thank you for watching this video also, and I will see you in my next video.